What's up? You're watching Poot's Garage. This week we are gonna start doing some tube bending. My first bends. This is pretty exciting. I got this thing all kind of set up, been playing with it all kind of morning, last few hours, getting things set up. So yeah, let's get into this. Let's unbox something. This is for the Jeep Cherokee XJ that we're calling Cheezburger. This is gonna be the budget build, so I don't know if I really call this budget type stuff, but it's not that expensive, so let's get into it. So what we got is from Iron Rock Off-Road. Never ordered from them before, so we're about to open this up and see how it is. Started cutting it open, figured out I better do it on camera just to be sure. These are made in America, so that's kind of a bonus. Finally getting some American-made parts on this Jeep. I keep trying to save money and buy cheap stuff. This actually wasn't too expensive. Yes, we got a sticker. So what these are, it's real quick, basic. These are, the chassis stiffeners. This is just the center section for a Jeep Cherokee XJ because we don't have a frame on those vehicles. They're unibody. So since we're gonna be welding some stuff onto that, we need some extra strength. So we're basically gonna be welding this onto the unibody, and this will give us something extra to weld to, and we can tie a lot of other stuff into this to give us more of a frame-like structure than just sheet metal. All right, now that we got them out of the box, take a look at them here, left and right. Now they make these for the entire length of the chassis, all the way up from basically the, I don't know, like the front bumper all the way to the back bumper. We bought just the center section because that's all I'm really worried about right now, because we need to get a roll cage in that thing, and I need something solid to weld to. So this is what we're going with for now. You don't really save a whole lot of money by buying the entire, I don't know, front to bumper, bumper to bumper kit. So I can buy it in pieces and not be spending that much extra money, which is good because we're trying to do this somewhat cheap. Now I went with Iron Rock here because I was about to buy some cheaper stuff on Amazon. It wasn't that much cheaper, 20 or 30 bucks less. But when I started reading through specs, the cheaper one was a lot thinner metal. I think it was like 8th inch metal, I think. And then these here are 3/16, so for 20 or 30 bucks extra, you get quite a bit more steel. So we're gonna need that on this thing because we're treating it kind of hard already. So yeah, there's not much really to show. They are really nice quality. Everything is I don't know, it's like laser cut or water. I don't know. It's very intricately cut. It's got the slits here to get a little bit of curvature that the frame has, so it's going to follow that fake frame as close as possible. It's got a lot of open areas here where you're going to be welding it in, along with the edges. You'll be welding like spot, what do you call it? Not spot welds. You'll be able to weld the middle of it, in to really tie it into everything. And then I believe you're doing the same thing on top here, as well as like edges and stuff like that. So it's going to be really cool. I'm excited to get this in. It is going to add some weight. I don't know what these things weigh, probably 10, 15 pounds each, whatever. Currently right now, my XJ, this stock frame rail is getting pretty beat up. It's got some huge dents and stuff in it from landing on rocks and stuff, so it's gonna give us a little extra strength to really be able to slide over things easier. And like I said, I mainly need this just so I can weld a roll cage to it. Alright, let's get on with the video, whatever we're doing here. And this is what we got. This is the JD squared or JD2 or whatever you want to call it, JD squared bender. And then I'm using my Amazon Vevor pump. Put that on there. And I've got everything marked, centered up, just to the point where it's ready to start bending, so everything's kind of seated. Sitting at 0 degrees there, and we're gonna do a 90-degree bend on this piece. This is really exciting. I mean, I don't know how to make videos with bending, so we're gonna have to play with the videos on this stuff, but I got a full stick in here, 19 feet long. I could have cut a little bit off there, but we're just gonna start from one end and work our way through, because I don't know how much tube is gonna be required for the bend itself. I'm not making templates like a lot of people do. Eventually I will, but for now I'm not. So we're just gonna make our first bend because it's not super critical in the lengths. We're making it, probably have a little bit left over, so it should work out just right. Let me show you what we're actually working on making here. So behind me is the test bed, the test project. This is a 1992 Jeep Cherokee XJ. We're gonna build a hybrid cage for this thing. So I'm pretty excited about what we're gonna do here. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully I can pull it off because I've never bent tube before. I haven't even welded tube before, so it'll be lots of experimenting as we go here. It's cold, as you can see. It was 32 degrees last time I opened the door, so got the heater running and trying to keep things warm in here. But we're building a hybrid cage, so basically that's gonna be, all the roof stuff is gonna be on the outside of the vehicle. It's gonna have a halo around the top, and we're gonna have our crosses on the top, and then we'll have an A-pillar on the outside. We'll have the A-pillar on the outside of the Jeep going down, and it'll go behind the fender, so you'll just see it come up the outside here, attach into the top stuff. And then the B-pillar supports will be inside the vehicle, so they'll actually go through the roof. And then, yeah, we'll have all sorts of stuff. It'll make sense as we go if you're not familiar with this type of cage. It seems like Cherokees are the only ones that really do this. I don't know, maybe other people do. I don't know. Real popular for a Cherokee cage. It keeps your headroom good inside so you don't have all that cage work around your head. The main reason I want to do this is because I'm trying to protect that windshield, right? I spent a lot of time getting that windshield back in this thing. It was previously rolled, so we got it all straightened out, got a new windshield put in it. But kind of my requirements on this thing is, even though I'm going to beat the crap out of this thing and I don't care about anything on it, is I want to keep a windshield in it. So we're going to build our cage that's going to protect the windshield. And then obviously the people inside is all I care about. So I'm actually not going all the way to the back of the Jeep on the outside stuff on the roof, because I don't care about the back of the roof on this thing. All I care about is protecting the windshield and me inside. So that's what we're going with. We're gonna do like the minimal amount, but super strong. We're about to do our first bend here, and yeah, it's kind of exciting. So hopefully we can do this right. So what we're doing right now is we're building just the outer halo section of the roof. It's just gonna be a big U-shaped down the sides, across the front. So we're doing our first bend on that. So I got my 4.5 feet marked out here, 4'4", plus the bend, whatever that ends up adding to it. Once I get that first bend done, I should be able to measure that and know a little bit more about what the other side is going to need for the length of tubing with the bending. Yeah, there's calculations you can do with this and math, and it's really confusing. So I'm not going to bother trying to do the math. We're just gonna go for it, because the first bend will be easy. So let's see what happens. Oh, there you go. It's 5 degrees. It's going. Looks like it's working. I cleaned the die, I cleaned the tube, I lubricated the, what do you call that, the follower, the block, whatever, so hopefully everything's working right. We're going 90 degrees, this is going to take a while. I'm only using about, I don't know, 600 PSI or so to do this. So it's really not working too hard. I have to grab our extension cord over there. Get that out of the way. Woo! This is fun. 30 degrees. I'm going to add a little bit more lube, just because I feel like it might need it here coming up. The tube itself should have a little lube on just the back side, maybe. Add some of the other one there. Help it out a little bit. 45, halfway there. That is the end of my ram, so this is where I have to reset it. Process, you know, it does take a little while. I'm sure there's faster pumps for one. Alright, we're in the next hole, we can continue on. there's our completed first bend. No collapsing of the pipe, no wrinkling. It actually looks really good. I'm happy with that. So I got my side. Now I'm gonna bend across the front over the windshield, which I've got figured out. Because now that I have a bend, I can measure that. So we can subtract that. We can start a bend. We should be good. I'm going for 55 inches from basically end on the outside to the same over here. We'll see if my calculations are right. Hard part is getting this thing kind of set up in here because it's so long. And then once I start bending it, this whole angle is going to want to swing. So it's like I got to support it while it goes. So I'm using these roller stands that I happen to have, thank God, to support the ends. And yeah, we're getting it. This is interesting. It's kind of fun. Well, we made a mistake. I'm sitting here trying to finish my second bend on this one piece, but I must have forgot to tighten this bolt here because it's loose. And what happened is the tube actually bent outside of the die. It's kind of hard to tell, but this tube is actually out and it's out crushed. So I don't think that's a good bend. We'll see when we pull it out, but I'm pretty sure I just screwed that one up. So what we might end up having to do is actually cut this, splice it in the middle with a sleeve, and then yeah, we'll have to make a second one. We are doing work. So I don't know if you can tell from this right now, but we got a tube up there. We got this tube. It is all one piece. I think the last clip I had a boo-boo on one of the bends, so I ended up cutting this thing in half, and we actually sleeved the center, plug weld, real good weld, grind it all smooth. Can't tell. It's actually looks super good now. So you can see the idea. We got a big U shape around the outside, and then I just need to add a B-pillar across there. But then I also need to figure out where my B-pillars are going through the roof before I really put things together, but I can start making some pieces here to kind of tack things together and really figure this out as we go. I also ran out into Reno today and got some more steel. I went and picked up all this. This is all my 2x6 tubing. That's going to be sliders for the Cherokee, but we also got enough to do sliders for the K30 later, just to get that out of the way. That 2x6 is so freaking expensive. I hope I don't ever have to buy that again. But anyways, we got it. And then I also bought some 2x2 square, and then that's our 1.5 inch round that we use to actually sleeve that. I only used like a 6-inch section in there, but I bought a little extra just in case we gotta do that again. I think it's looking pretty good. It's kind of just sitting up there. It's not really in its exact place. It needs to sit just a hair higher in the front and kind of situate itself a little bit here and there, but yeah, we're making progress. But you can see those bends are looking good. No more kinky bends. These are our 2 screw-up pieces. You can see how kinked they got. They kind of just kick themselves out of the die and then just kink themselves. So I think it's a lube issue. I need to kind of pay attention to what I'm doing a little bit more, a little bit closer. But yeah, this thing's working really good. It makes really nice bends, so I'm happy. I'm pretty satisfied. Update time. Check it out. Man, this is so fun. I'm loving doing this. So we got our halo back together. You saw that. And we made our cross piece. I don't remember what I updated last. It was hard to figure out where to start and stop your bends. And I kind of just guessed at 30 degrees, which was a good guess because it just looks pretty nice. The only thing is, like, I'm probably a 1/2 inch higher in the middle than I planned. I wanted 3/4 inch clearance, not 1.25 inch, but no, it looks fine. It's cool. It's perfect. And then we also went through and we notched our tubes here. It's not super tight, but I think it'll work fine. Still got to clean things up and, you know, bevel everything, but we're not welding these in yet anytime soon. But yeah, it's looking good. I mean, it's actually, it has a nice appealing look to it. I think it's so cool. So I mean, just look at that. It looks professional. So we're getting this. We're figuring it out as we go. We got nice bends. We got some notches that are working. I couldn't use my new notcher for these tubes because it's too close to the bend. I couldn't fit it in the notcher, but we have been using the notcher for a couple other things, and that is these guys here. This is actually my floor, my B-pillar. So I kind of changed plans up. I was gonna try and make a nice B-pillar that hugged the seat, stayed close to this, you know, the B-pillar on the body, and you know, really made some room so the back seat's still usable. But man, I was looking at stuff and measuring things, and I was like, I'm not going to try and figure that out. That was just a little too complicated for me. So we deleted the rear seat. We're done with the rear seat. I'm probably never going to have anybody back here anyways, so we just got rid of it. So we're just doing a straight B-pillar all the way down. We'll go from basically the back of the seat and straight down. The seats are all the way forward right now, but we set it up so that the front seats can go all the way back. So we have drilled holes. I got nice tight holes there, and we're buttoned up right there, so you can see where our B-pillars are tying in. So this thing's gonna be super strong. We're going all the way down through the floor because we'll be tied into our sliders and everything else that we do underneath. So this is working out really good. You can see I'm working on the other side right now. I got the holes drilled. I want to show you this notcher though, because we're using the notcher for this. It is so cool. It cuts like butter, and this is the JD squared notcher. And you got to see this thing. So I got it set up, and I started cutting just barely now, and I was like, I got to get the camera out. So this is what we're doing. Oh, go baby. Battery died. Using the old cordless DeWalt here. Almost made it through. Let me get this finished up and get back to you. And there's our finished product. It's a nice, tight, fitting notch. So yeah, it's just a perfect fit. I probably could have gone a little deeper just to catch the sides there too, but yeah, we got it. That's cool. It's so neat to do that. I mean, you can actually see how tight we are. I mean, I have almost no gap there. So if this, you imagine that as being my other tube, that's how tight it would fit if I get the angles right. That's the biggest thing, is getting your angles correct. I'm doing a 30-degree angle because that's what I bent those up on top, trying to measure things out. It just doesn't quite work out like you plan all the time. So, but yeah, 30 degrees. I mean, you can, so clean. I like this. This is fun. And here's the fit up on that. Actually came out, oh Jesus, came out pretty good. Get it up in there. That's, yeah, you can't see nothing. Yeah, you probably still can't see a whole lot because I'm trying to hold three things at once, but it's actually fairly tight. I can probably make it a little bit tighter with a grinder. I had to do a lot on the other side because, I don't know, I must have got the angle a little bit off, but yeah, you kind of touch it up and get the grinder to make it a little tighter, and yeah, this is fun. Update time. I have no idea where we're at in this video. I don't know what part I left off at, but let's show you what we're at right now. So we have our new Iron Rock chassis stiffener in. It's just about done. I got a few more spots that I want to finish up welding, but it's kind of done per the instructions for the amount of welding and stuff they want. So, I mean, how strong is it really going to be going to sheet metal? So all these little spot welds are really all you need. But this whole thing is super strong. Like when I was trying to jack up just the edge here, because it doesn't go all the way over, it just flat right there. Trying to jack up the edge just to get it to get a little flatter to weld it, and yeah, it just lifts up the whole Jeep. So it's impressive. It's cool. It's nice to have some real steel on this thing. And we just cut off the entire rocker panel on this side. So now we're looking at the inside of the rocker panel. That's my floor going right up inside the Jeep there. So we can now get the next piece in, which is this 5-foot chunk of 2x6 steel. This is 120 wall. I would have liked maybe just a little thicker, just because that large flat surface might bend when you hit it hard enough, but we're not too worried about actually bending stuff on this, about keeping it nice or anything. So as long as it doesn't crush the entire Jeep in and it can support my roll cage on top, we will be perfect. This is the rocker I cut off. This thing was in bad shape. This is the bottom side of it, and you can see how trashed it is. So we're definitely making improvements doing this. Not that I want it to be nice or anything, but yeah, this is supposed to have a nice curve to it, kind of like that-ish in the middle there, but it's just completely flattened and pancaked. I actually had to straighten parts of it out, especially along the pinch seam, pinch weld seam, whatever you want to call it, just to be able to get this thing straight enough to cut it back out and give me some straight lines. But yeah, kind of interesting. So I'm not going in super detail about how I'm doing this. There's enough write-ups on YouTube about this stuff and whatnot. So pretty much you're cutting it off right at the corner, And then I went just behind the pinch seam here because I'm going to try and use this flap maybe. We'll see. I think a lot of people just go completely off of that. I'm not sure, but I'm not too positive about that. A lot of people like to weld pre-weld a angle iron in there, and then the rocker kind of sits on that, and then they can weld to that. I'm just going to weld this thing straight in. We're not getting fancy with this one. There's a few things like these seatbelt bolts that are going to be possibly right in the way, so I might just have to notch out the top of my 2x6 there just to clear things like that. Try and get it to fit flush up against this floor piece here. And then, yeah, I think we'll be good. If I want to get crazy, I can drill holes through here and I could spot weld it from the back side. I might do that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'll get that crazy or not. It would help a little bit, I think. But yeah, it's getting there. We're getting down to some clean metal here. This is all soaked in oil. I think this is all transmission fluid from when this thing was rolled. But yeah, we're just kind of humming along on this. I'm not, like I said, I'm not getting crazy on showing you exactly what we're doing. We're just gonna give you updates as we go. It's kind of fun though. What's up? I don't know where we left off on this video, to be honest. It's been several weeks now. Today is January 9th, so Happy New Year's and all that good stuff. I didn't do anything. I'm not filming much right now, but I think our last update was probably before Christmas. All the Christmas stuff going on and, you know, being gone for weekends and stuff. But we are making some big progress to this Jeep. I don't know if you notice it. I don't know if you can see in the background, but there's cage up there. So let's show you what we are at. So basically the entire cage is built and welded, but it's not attached to the vehicle yet. Actually, last night I had it lifted up so that I could finish welding my down bars, and then I just set it down, and then I had to call it quits for last night because it was getting late. But yeah, this is where we're at. This is actually looking really good. This is pretty cool. I don't know if you can see the general shape we're going with there. Keeping it kind of minimalistic, but it should be plenty strong. There's a lot of room for upgrades on more tubes I can add later if I want. You know, I can add like a corner guard here to really strengthen up that corner and stuff like that, but I'm really not worried about that right now. So we are just enjoying this the way it is. But you can see I am just sitting now. I did extend this out last night. This is just a 2x2 square chunk that's slid all the way in, welded all the way around. So we'll have a wall underneath this pipe, so this won't collapse if something were to crunch, you know. So this corner's gonna be super strong. This pipe's actually gonna get pushed in quite a ways. It kind of came out when I welded the top end, but we'll push it back in and weld it down, and then we're gonna cut this whole corner off at an angle and cap that. So that's just kind of some finished work we're dealing with here. You can see I got I don't know what you call that, like a stiffener piece, not a stiffener piece, like a connection piece that's going from my outer 2x6 to the inner stiffener. So that's where the roll cage, if you can see through that hole, is actually sitting on top of. So that thing's gonna be super strong, and we're gonna tie the outer rocker into the stiffener, and we'll do 2 more up front. So this thing will be super strong, so we won't move. And that's where we are going through the floor. There's that connector in there. And I got the sheet metal kind of pulled up out of the way so that I can weld things from the top here, and then we'll put it back down and just tack the sheet metal back together. You can see our B-pillar there coming through. I would love to, I mean, I made this hole super tight, so I can probably go through and stitch weld this all back together. So we might do that, I'm hoping, but I definitely want to at least weld this bar here that we went through. This is actually some decent metal, so we can attach that, and that'll kind of attach the structure of the entire Jeep to the cage a little bit, just to help things out, I think. But once we get this thing welded down, which is kind of my next stage, my next step here, which I'm gonna be working on here in a bit, is we are gonna cross the B-pillar here. So this B-pillar will be the strong point of the entire cage, will be crossed. And then I'm gonna do kickers just straight from the top down to the back corner of the Jeep, just straight kickers. I mean, that's pretty much it for the cage. This thing will be done. I just gotta do a lot of little finish things, like, you know, this tube I need to cut about 1 inch off to match the other side, and then cap both ends. The bottom of the rocker down there, I gotta cap the end there, you know, just lots of stuff like that. This here, once this bar gets pushed up into there, I'm gonna actually run a 1-inch strip of metal all the way down here. And we're gonna actually weld it to the side of the cowl. So that will actually grab this entire section, attach it to the vehicle, along with being attached to the super strong rock slider down there, which is then attached to the frame. So everything's going to be super attached. This will add a lot of strength just attaching that, because this metal here is super, for a Cherokee, for inner structure type pieces, all this cowl stuff is super thick. It's like double layers and different things like that. So this is a strong area of the vehicle, so we're definitely going to attach it along there. And then, getting it attached there, it'll help kind of make things a little stiffer up here. And man, we got lots of room for improvement. Not really improvement, but upgrades if we want to later. Like if I want to add more tubes to this thing, it's going to be super easy to. I can build off the front and start building tubes up in the front if I really wanted to, so it's gonna be cool. I'm getting really excited. This thing's coming along really good. Everything's like, all my bends are great. The welding is okay. Notching is the hardest part of this thing. It is so frustrating trying to get your notches tight and whatever. So I have had to fill some gaps with welding and stuff, but I'm confident that they are super strong still. I'm not worried about this thing coming apart or collapsing or doing anything weird, and if it did happen to roll over or something. So I'm not worried about the strength of this thing. It's going to be super strong. Yeah, we're just plugging along. This welder is working great out here. I would love to have it on 220 power, but we're still working on 120, and it's working. It's working great for this, because most of this stuff is a little thinner. It's like eighth inch, and then a couple pieces are like 3/16. So this is working out pretty good for all of that. The bender is working phenomenally once I've kind of figured out the lubing situation. I was trying WD-40 on the follower, and it was causing the pipe to pop out of the die. And so I talked to a buddy, and he said use straight axle grease. So yeah, I greased the whole back side of that pipe when I'm doing it, and now it just slides right through as it's bending. It works great. The Hercules chop saw jig bandsaw deal is working great. I got the DeWalt in there. That thing is working so good. It does not cut super straight. It does not cut very straight at all, to be honest. So if it's something that has to be super critical and straight, be extremely careful. Otherwise, it's easy to, it makes a quick cut and you're done. Okay, not super quick, but I would like a chop saw. A chop saw would be ideal still. But this is working great for now. Another new tool we got, this was actually a Christmas gift, was I finally got a cordless angle grinder. This thing is so much easier and so nice to use, not having to find your cords and stuff like this. You can just grab this and run underneath the vehicle and get under there and cut something or do whatever you need. It's so much nicer to have cordless. So it's cool though, because now I have 3 total grinders. I got my cordless, I got the big Craftsman, and there's a little bit smaller Black & Decker. So now I don't have to constantly change my, things. Like I'm keeping the cutoff wheel on this one. And then, one of them has a straight grinding disc on it, and then the other one has the like the flap discs on it, the sanding discs. These things are great here. So yeah, it's so nice to have things set up. So yes, cordless is awesome. We've even got the plasma cutter out. We're starting to make these connector pieces underneath that need a lot of cutting. So the plasma is actually working really good for that. I'm actually surprised. I've actually made some good, clean cuts. You look at this stuff, that was done with the plasma cutter. I'm proud. So we're getting better at this stuff. It's pretty cool. And then this notcher is working great. This is the JD squared notcher. It's not ideal in all situations. That's the biggest problem. Like I can't use it when I was up here. Like when I needed to notch the end of this, it's too close to this bend here, so I can't clamp it into that notcher. I had to do that by hand. For the ones that I've done that is just a complete straight tube and you just got to notch the end of it super easy, that is the way to go. That thing eats through it so good, and it's so quick. And it's just a matter of getting like the twist of your tube where you need the notch to be, and there's a lot going on in here. The notching is the most frustrating part of all of this, but we're getting it. We're figuring it out as we go. I just need to get a little better at, hand notching and grinding and fitting and stuff like that, but we're getting there. It's working. So that's where we're at right now. I'm going to continue on today. We are feeling refreshed this year. We've made some lifestyle changes, I think, that are helping out so far the last 2 weekends, and getting a lot more done. I actually took the Jeep Rubicon out straight wheeling. I met up with a group of people, and I'll throw those pictures in here, and there's a little video clip. I'll try to get that in here too. I beat on that Rubicon. I probably beat on it a little harder than I should have. We didn't break anything, but we definitely damaged some stuff. So, plastic fenders are broken up, and might have dented the oil pan. And then, drag it over the rock sliders and stuff like that. So yeah, we were a little hard on that Jeep. And then, I kind of slammed the front end into a wash and knocked the alignment out. So... That was super fun. We were out there with some big dog wheelers, you know, some big Toyotas and stuff, and we were hanging with them, and along with the side-by-sides and stuff that were with us. It was a big group. We were going up this trail called Steam Shovel, and we couldn't even get up all the way because it got so muddy and greasy that a few of us tried, and we just slid off the side of the road. So we had to call it quits there because we couldn't keep going up the hills. So it was super fun, but yeah, I can't wait to get out and do more stuff like that. I want to get more out like with these rigs, not the nice daily driver, but it's nice to have that Rubicon that you can just jump in and go, and you know, it's got lockers and everything ready to go, so you can go hang with some big dogs if you need to. You just got to be careful of how little ground clearance you have. All right, I'm going to continue working, and we'll give you another update. Who knows when.